Our protagonist is the one who always supported the heroes in destroying monsters, an unsung hero, working in the shadows. His current title is Captain of the Royal Security Division, a man the heroes deeply trust with their lives. They see him as a symbol of dedication and passion. Let's grab a drink after this fight, yeah. Sword Saint Haiban said to our protagonist as he gripped his great sword, his whole body radiating a terrifying aura. Witnessing this scene left the guards in awe. Our hero snapped. What are you all staring at? Don't you dare let your guard down. Captain, watch out, a voice yelled, as a monster charged right in front of our protagonist. At the same time, the Demon King's voice echoed across the sky. You have won, warriors. Turns out the heroes had already defeated him. It seems this is my fate. Come and end me, the Demon King said slowly. You humans have won. Enjoy what you call peace, he repeated one last time. At that moment, the entire empire began celebrating the return of their heroes. This is incredible. The Demon King is finally dead and peace has been restored. What a beautiful day. Hey, why don't I see the security captain? There's no way he died. He's probably hiding somewhere, practicing his sword skills. They were all talking about our protagonist. That's right, all the heroes deserve our respect. Standing in the background, our hero thought to himself, reflecting on his role. My time as both a hero and a swordsman has come to an end. In a small cabin on a snowy mountain, our protagonist trained relentlessly, holding on to a single belief. I might not have a talent for swordsmanship, but I love the sword. I've wielded one my entire life, ever since I was a kid in school, and after I joined the Royal Security Division. But years of battle had left him with severe internal injuries. After just a few swings, death felt closer than ever. If I were young, these wounds would have healed in an instant. My time is almost up. I wish I were a hero too, he thought to himself, never aging, never getting sick. But alas, among all of them, I was the only one who grew old and weak. One more time, should I swing my sword one last time? He questioned himself, but his intense love for the sword drove him to unleash one final strike with all his might. In that moment of life and death, his obsession with the sword created a miracle. The sign of a sword saint, the mark of one who has reached the pinnacle of swordsmanship, appeared. Our protagonist was proud. I became a sword saint, all on my own. I can't believe I actually achieved something like this in my lifetime. But so what? I'm about to die anyway. He collapsed to the ground. No, I lived a good life. Becoming a sword saint right before dying is truly something to be proud of. As soon as he finished speaking, his eyes shot open again. Where is this heaven? The scene before him was completely alien. Then he stared bewildered into a mirror. Who is this? He was stunned by his new identity in the body of a teenager. Where the hell am I? Did I get reincarnated into this kid's body? He then walked around to observe his surroundings. He recognized it as a castle in the territory of the AAC district, the place I worked during my final years. Of all the places to end up, it had to be here. Whatever. First things first, I need to figure out whose body this is. Then he looked over and saw a red-haired girl practicing her swordsmanship. He turned to see her sparring with a training dummy. This is our female lead, Judaica, the beloved daughter of the Lord. Who is that girl, the Lord's daughter? I don't remember anyone who looked like her in my past life, our hero wondered as he analyzed the technique she was using. That sword skill lets you use movements as fluid as a worm. Isn't that the sword skill, times that guy, times created? That technique looks incredibly difficult. This girl must be very talented. Just then, Judaica noticed our protagonist's presence. You're awake, Aser. Are you just gonna stand there watching instead of training? And that's when our hero learned that this body's name was Aser. That's Revia's sword technique, isn't it? From the way you swing, you've probably been practicing for at least 4 or 5 years, Acer commented unconsciously. However, your footwork is still off. You should relax your wrist and slow your swing down a bit. Before he could even finish his sentence, he had a damn sword shoved in his face. Judaica raged. How dare you speak to me like that? I am your master. You will address me as Lady Judaica, you hear me? Realizing he'd messed up, Aser adapted quickly. My apologies, my lady. It was then that he understood she was his master, not his friend. But Judaica was also a pretty laid-back person. She told Acer whatever. You look a little tired. Didn't you sleep last night? A guy who never touches a sword suddenly shows up at the training grounds. On top of that, you know about the hero's sword techniques. Exactly how well do you know it? Why don't you demonstrate it for me? If you can't, you're going to be in big trouble, Judaica threatened. What a pain. I can't believe I had the balls to lecture the lady of the castle on swordsmanship. He then turned to leave, complaining internally. Looks like I was reincarnated, but my nagging habit came with me. But this feeling, my sword sense, is still as sharp as ever. This body is overflowing with power, but my sword-obsessed nature hasn't changed across 2 lifetimes. Acer slowly assumed his stance, and upon seeing his form, this shocked Rake. Is that the royal family's swordsmanship? When did you learn that? You're more serious than usual today. When you ask, I've swung a sword for over 70 years, kid. In my past life, I was swinging it even in my final moments. A single terrifyingly powerful strike descended, making Rake flinch, after which Ash let out a few more ecstatic swings. Haha, it feels amazing to have a healthy body. This thing is just overflowing with power. It's so light. I feel like I could fly. He leaped forward and shattered a wooden dummy with one slash, successfully grabbing Rake's attention. She stared at him, completely stunned. It was unbelievable. Rake couldn't believe what she was seeing. Just holding a sword made his body thrill with uncontrollable excitement. Gotta learn to hold back a little. Ash realized he was acting a bit out of character for this body. I apologize. He began to speak, but Rake cut him off. No way. You know royal swordsmanship, the standard style created by the Empire, but you're using its basic form with such insane speed and destructive power. With that, Rake moved in close to Ash. You're so damn cool. Then she grabbed his hand. You're incredibly gifted. Why have you been hiding this kind of talent all this time? For a moment, Ash didn't know how to explain. But Rake's eyes were sparkling. I thought you were just a useless slacker, but I was so wrong. That remark made Ash curious. Just what kind of person was this body's original owner? He felt awkward and feigned modesty. You're flattering me. I'm just a little talented, that's all. Right, what were you telling me to do? Something about swinging slower. Rake shouted. A voice cut in. Rake, what are you doing here? The newcomer was Rake's brother, a guy named Luke. This guy was pure arrogance. He looked down his nose at Ash. And you, Ash, if you're awake, go chop some firewood or do your chores. Who gave you the nerve to speak directly to my sister, especially with that cocky-ass attitude? You piece of trash. You should remember your place. You're just a lowly commoner, and we are nobles. Hearing this, Ash put on a fearful act. My apologies, young master. But inside, he'd already pegged him as a pompous little brat. And hey, why are you holding Rake's sword, trying to steal our family's royal swordsmanship? Luke wouldn't let it go. That's not it, brother. Rake tried to speak, but Luke cut her off. Quiet, Rake. Actually, this is perfect. I needed a training partner anyway. If you're still standing after 1 minute, I'll acknowledge you. Ash, show me what you've got. Rake pleaded with her brother, worried. Stop it, brother. Don't worry, Rake. Luke replied. I'm not gonna kill him. It's not that I don't think you can kill him. Right then, Ash was the one who was worried. That stance is completely useless in a real fight. This condescending asshole. How could a nice girl like her have such a terrible brother? Should I just take him down right now? Before Ash could even decide, Luke charged. But in the blink of an eye, it was over. His sword was sent flying before getting stuck deep in the ground. Damn, trying to lose on purpose is harder than I thought, Ash thought to himself. A cut had appeared on Luke's face. Seeing it, Ash feigned absolute terror. Luke couldn't believe he was actually bleeding. He screamed. A lowly servant dares to injure his master. At the Lord's castle in the Ayak territory, Luke reported Ash's crime, begging his father to punish him severely. A servant hired by this castle dared to harm his master, and not just any master, but the heir to our noble Hanbit family. We cannot tolerate Ash's actions, which bring shame upon all nobility. By now, Ash had been bound and brought before the Lord. Is what Luke said true? Ash thought to himself. Reborn. So that kid grew up to become the Lord, huh? 40 years ago, when I was first appointed as captain of the guard, I remember visiting the garrison with the previous Lord. So, it's been about 20 years since I died. He calculated the time that had passed since he was reincarnated. The Lord spoke. Ash, all this time we have treated you like our own son. Despite your countless mistakes, we never threw you out and allowed you to work in this castle. But this time, you have crossed the line. You should receive a fitting punishment, but out of respect for our long history, we will be merciful. Leave this territory at once. My lord, you absolutely cannot. Be silent, my lady, the Lord commanded. I have had enough. This time I will not forgive him. How can we continue to indulge an ungrateful brat who doesn't appreciate everything we've given him? You're lucky you're being exiled in one piece. Just then, Reich's voice cut through. No, my brother is the one at fault. Ash did nothing wrong. Please release him. Father Luke hurt himself when he swung his sword at Ash. Ash was just teaching me swordsmanship. My brother's pathetic swordsmanship is the real disgrace to our family's honor. Hearing this, Luke became absolutely furious. The Lord and his wife were completely shocked. Ash was teaching you swordsmanship. This is the first I'm hearing of this. Yes, Ash has mastered high-level royal swordsmanship to the point where I wish he could be my official trainer. Ash has changed. He's finally gotten serious about training with the sword. Hearing that, Luke scoffed. You want to learn swordsmanship from Aser, a guy who can't even hold a sword, and on top of that, you want to learn that useless royal style. That useless bum, have you lost your mind? You saw Aser's swordsmanship with your own 2 eyes. If you don't believe me, let him show you his skills himself, Reika replied with total confidence. Just what was going on? Even the Lord was confused. Karen. Yes, my lord. Test Aser's swordsmanship, he ordered the man beside him. But isn't Karen a bit much? His wife worried. Don't worry, it's just a small assessment. Aser, I don't know what tricks you used to suddenly learn swordsmanship and bewitch Reika, but if this is just a joke, you won't be leaving here in one piece. Aser realized things had spiraled out of his control. He had no choice but to pick up a sword and accept the challenge. If you can last 5 minutes against Karen, I will recognize your talent, the Lord declared. Aser, you have the nerve to teach the young lady, Karen raged. How dare a peasant like you insolent bastard. I won't go easy on you, even in front of Lady Benia. I'm going to beat you senseless and kick you out of this territory. Take this. Aser raised his wooden sword to block. Show me what you've got. Aser Reika cheered him on. If what I saw before was real, you can definitely hold your own against Karen. Are you shaking, Aser? You think swordsmanship is that easy? Let me teach you a lesson. Here it comes. Karen unleashed a powerful strike. You haven't even mastered the basics, yet you dare to dream of learning the sword. You arrogant little punk. This Karen guy was just as conceited as his young master. He then unleashed a flurry of strikes on Aser. Against this furious onslaught, Aser could only defend himself. Just as I thought. You're weak, you stubborn idiot. How dare you insult the noble art of swordsmanship? By now Aser was completely on the defensive. It looked like Karen was too much for him to handle. The Lord watched and assessed the situation. Reika felt something was off. Seeing the fight, he praised Karen, as expected of the former top student from the Royal Academy. He's truly worthy of his title as Knight Commander, coming from a renowned family of swordsmen. There's no way Aser can beat Karen, one of the best fighters in the entire empire. Hearing this, Aser just smirked. Meanwhile, Karen looked down on him with utter contempt. So weak and pathetic, Aser. Remember the massive gap between us. This is what real-time swordsmanship looks like. Just then, Aser slowly got to his feet and spoke. Karen, that's adorable. That was truly a magnificent performance. Coming from an elite knight of the empire, truly. What the hell are you talking about? Karen was livid. Aser continued. I'm just giving you back your own words. You think the title of Knight Commander is some kind of joke? Let me teach you a lesson. He then gathered his aura and unleashed an incredibly powerful slash. In an instant, Karen was sent flying, leaving everyone completely stunned. Aser, what the hell just happened to him? Karen thought, terrified. I didn't even touch you and you still couldn't block it. How pathetic. Pick up your sword and get on your feet, O esteemed elite knight. Aser's voice dripped with sarcasm. Because this is an era of peace with no demons or wars, this generation has grown complacent and weak, Aser judged. The military's discipline needs a serious overhaul. It's over, Karen. You, a top knight of the empire, the commander of knights in the Erek territory, were beaten so easily by a mere commoner, you bastard. That final taunt made him snap. How dare a commoner like you beat me? Karen charged forward again. He swung with all his might. Too slow, Aser said icily. Then he swung his left fist, landing a solid punch right in Karen's face. This time, he stayed down for good. What a disgrace. Karen, you probably think I'm just some old man reminiscing about the old days. But back then, even an average soldier was far more skilled than a commander like you is now. Countless professional, highly trained soldiers, hundreds, maybe thousands of them, died helplessly at the hands of demons. Even in an era of peace without demons or war, you must always remain vigilant. You can't afford to be this weak. Just then, 4 other soldiers rushed in. Wait, my lord. The lady stepped forward to intervene. The enraged lord shot to his feet. You. Who are you? He demanded. You're not the Aser we know. Who are you? The hostility and suspicion were palpable. To get them to trust him, there was only one thing to say. I have amnesia, Aser answered plainly. Amnesia, the lord repeated. When I woke up this morning, I found that I couldn't remember a single thing, Aser stated. I don't know who I am, or who any of you are. The only thing I remember is how to use a sword. I thought holding a sword might jog my memory, but nothing. It's still a total blank. However, it's clear that I have wounded the commander. I will accept any punishment. Aser knelt down his act, both sincere and cunning. That night in a holding cell, Aser knew he needed time to process everything. Until then, do not leave this room. He then glanced at the wooden sword beside him. At that moment, someone brought him a meal. Aser has changed. If this is true, then he's a completely different person now, Reika thought to herself as she walked. He wasn't like this yesterday. He'd never even held a sword, and his speech and behavior were crude and vulgar. He was a total disgrace. My mother adopted Asur before my brother and I were born. She found him abandoned outside the castle. Back then, she was heartbroken about being childless, so she raised Asur herself without any help from the servants. And she poured all of her love into him. Even after my brother and I were born, Asur and I were like family. But our relationship grew complicated. It felt almost like favoritism. My mother showered Asur with love and obsession, but despite her efforts, Asur only grew more distant. His behavior caused outrage in the family. In fact, Asur was about to be thrown out of the castle. However, thanks to my mother's pleas, he was allowed to stay on the condition that he'd work here. What a piece of trash, Luke would always say. He's just a poor kid, Reich thought to herself. But then, Asur suddenly changed. The way he spoke, acted his personality. Everything changed. He was like a sword master who'd trained for years to reach this level. That new Asur is me. Reich knocked on the door. I've brought you some food. Are you in there? Just then, Asur lunged forward, sword in hand, and radiating killing intent. Terrified by the sight, she stumbled backward, spilling all the food onto the floor. Oh, it's you, I'm sorry. Asur froze. I saw a sword in the room and wanted to practice a bit. Practice, Reich repeated. A moment later in the cell, Asur was completely focused on his training, while Reich just sat and watched silently. Practicing in a corner, like this. Is he really that obsessed with the sword? He's like a fanatic. Reich, what kind of person was I before Asur asked? Both Luke and the Lord. I get the feeling they don't like me very much. Reich was blunt. There's not much to tell. In their eyes, you were nothing but a disobedient child. Except for your mother, the entire family, and even the castle staff disliked you. You were violent towards people and destroyed property. Doing things that hurt them. I really crossed the line. Even the servants hated me. So Asur was saddened to hear this. Why are you still talking to me so calmly, my lady? You should be looking down on me. Asur wondered. Why would I look down on you? Reich asked back. Because you lost your memory. Honestly, I don't care about that. Besides, your attitude has improved now, hasn't it? So let's help each other out, Asur. We can do this. No contempt, no indifference. He appreciated Reich's attitude towards him. Ahem, may I come in? A voice came from outside. The person who arrived was the lady of the house, wife of Lord Barak. Her name is Benia Wright. Asur recalled. My lady, what brings you here? He asked. Without answering, she reached out and caressed Asur's cheek. You don't have to address me like that. No matter what happens, I'm still the one who raised you. So, let's just be like we were before. Asur could feel a mother's love radiating from her. He called out, Mother. The lady was surprised. You've forgotten so much, but you still remember that I'm your mother, he continued speaking. I am not the Asur you know. Your face, your name, I've forgotten everything. To me you are a complete stranger. Asur was being honest. Before he could finish, the lady pulled him into a hug. I was the first one to find you. When I was 20, I still didn't have a child. During those days filled with guilt and self-doubt, I saw you abandoned outside the castle walls. When I held you in my arms and saw you smile, my entire world changed. Despite everyone's objections, I raised you with boundless love and care. Even if I'm just a stranger to you now, it doesn't matter, because you are still my child. I raised you and loved you as if you were my own flesh and blood. Hearing the lady's words, our hero questioned himself. Asur, can I really start over, become someone different? Why were you so cold and heartless to them before? Did you really think they meant nothing to you? How tragic. Asur. Meanwhile, Karen and Luke were arguing that Asur was a demon. The Lord held his head in his hands. No, that seems like a wild speculation. Demons vanished a long time ago, and even if one existed, there's no way it would possess Asur's body. Instead, they would try to take over the bodies of kings and nobles to exploit their power. There's no reason they'd target a commoner's body, but still. For a kid to defeat a high-ranking knight like Karen, not to mention a sharp kid like Reich has acknowledged and supports him. Just then, a voice cut in. This seems like an interesting conversation. Hearing that, the three of them spun around in fear. A man with a massive sword on his back was sitting on the meeting room windowsill. The man on the sill radiated pure confidence. Who the hell are you? Karen immediately charged forward. He swung his sword hard at the stranger, but his opponent caught the blade between just 2 fingers. Not bad swordsmanship. Your fundamentals are solid, the stranger said. His words struck fear into Karen's heart. You've hired a decent guard, Lord Barak. The man called out the Lord's name directly, then with a flick of his wrist, sent Karen flying with terrifying power. With such overwhelming power, Karen was tossed aside like trash. I lost again. Karen was crushed, having been defeated twice in one day. But the humiliation wasn't over. The stranger added, what a disgrace. If you were a bit younger, this might have been a decent fight, right, Liberoth? He's still a knight, sir. You went a little too far. The Lord seemed to respect this man. Don't tell me. Karen's eyes widened as he realized who stood before him. It has been 20 years. Welcome to my home. The Lord bowed respectfully to the man at the pinnacle of swordsmanship, the sword Saint Haiban Esther. His aura was absolutely overwhelming. My lord, where have you been all this time? You vanished 20 years ago. I thought you were dead, the Lord asked. I had some things to take care of, Esther replied, sitting down. I journeyed to the edge of the continent, to the end of the world. And still, I couldn't find my answer. By the way, is it true a kid defeated the royal knights? Yes, that's right. Right here in our domain. What's more, he's a kid who's never even learned basic swordsmanship. Sounds like a once-in-a-generation genius, doesn't he? Esther was intrigued. Tell me more about this boy. The sword saint was hooked. Meanwhile, Asher was training Juka. Come at me with everything you've got, milady. Are you sure, Asher? You're not even holding a sword. The sword isn't the issue. Asher explained. In a real fight, the battle is decided before you even draw your blade. I'll say it again. Attack me like you actually want to kill me. Asher recalled that Lady Juka, who was talented enough to stay in the castle on her own merit, insisted on being his student. He tried to refuse due to their class difference, but she was so adamant that he couldn't say no. Taking his words to heart, Juka charged forward and attacked him. Her style was the heroic swordsmanship. She was talented, and her technique was clean. But she's too weak, Asher thought, easily catching her wrist. Her movement, her attacks, her defense, they're all full of holes. She lost her balance and stumbled forward. Asher extended a hand to help her up. Milady, you're strong, but only when it comes to performance. A real battle is a completely different story. Do you think prodigies always survive on the battlefield? I've seen countless geniuses fall simply because they got too arrogant. Before you can be a true swordswoman, you must first train your body and mind. Hearing his veteran analysis, Juka wondered, who are you really? You talk like you've actually been to war. Asher dodged the question and explained, these are the basics you must know to become a great swordswoman. What you're teaching me has nothing to do with swordsmanship, she thought. Asher could see how naive she was. He told her bluntly to abandon her blind faith in the sword. Simply mastering sword skills won't keep you alive in battle. What you need, he said, picking up a wooden sword, is the true application of swordsmanship and self-control. You must be cold and calm before your opponent. You have to ensure you can swing with fluid power, overwhelming your enemy with sheer force. Juka watched his every move in awe. No matter how many times I watch, I can't find a single flaw in his form. I will teach you the practical combat skills that will complement your swordsmanship. Asher patiently continued his lesson. All right, let's go. Juka also trained with everything she had. Soon, they were training until late in the afternoon. On the way home, Juka felt like her limbs were about to fall off. Asher, does that guy even know what a limit is? How dare he push a noble lady like me this hard? He never even lost once. His stamina is terrifying. But I feel like I've gotten noticeably stronger after just one session. Just then, a voice called out, Juka. It was her older brother, Luke. Were you messing around with that Asher guy again? Messing around? We were training, she retorted. Training? What the hell could you possibly train with a lowly servant? Think whatever you want. Watch your attitude. You're staining the honor of the nobility. You are a noble lady, and he is just a commoner. You can't learn the sword from a commoner. Hearing this, Juka's face turned cold as she threateningly raised her sword. Why don't you shut your mouth? Seeing this, Luke stammered in fear. Why, you? Are you going to strike me, the rightful heir to this house? Don't you dare hit me, then talk less. The little sister was about to lay out her older brother when a voice suddenly interrupted, startling Juka. Now that is a rare sight. The speaker was Esther, who was walking with the Lord. The Lord was embarrassed. My apologies for letting you witness such a disgraceful scene. He then stepped in front of Juka. I have already let Asher off the hook, but no one is to harm Luke again. He ordered, even if it's you, daughter, I will not let it slide. Yes, father, I apologize. Juka obediently replied, but her eyes were fixed on only one person. Who's this guy? Esther just smirked, resting his chin on his hand. What an interesting family. He's definitely no ordinary person. Just then, Luke stepped forward. Sword Saint Haiban, I am Luke Hanvak, the rightful heir to the Hanvak family. Reika immediately realized who Esther was, a sword saint, the absolute highest rank a swordsman can achieve, revered by all. Less than 10 people in the entire history of the continent have ever reached that level. Luke continued to suck up. I'm a swordsman myself, and I've admired you for so long. It's an honor to finally meet you. Sir Haiban, I wish to become your disciple. He thought to himself, so even sword masters have ranks. Only a sword saint is worthy of teaching me. But the Sword Saint completely ignored Luke, walking right past him to Reika. "A pleasure to meet you. This is quite unexpected." Esther sized her up. "This little girl shows no fear in front of me, and she's ready to fight at a moment's notice. Maybe I should test her a little." Without another thought, he drew the massive sword from his back. Hearing this, both the Lord and Luke panicked. A Sword Saint wants to do what to us? But Reika remained calm, remembering Asur's teachings. Never let your opponent's aura overwhelm you. If you just swing your sword on instinct, you'll definitely lose. He had stressed, composure is the key to every battle. Right. Staring down the sword, Saint Reika didn't hesitate and attacked first. Seeing this, the Sword Saint praised her. "Impressive. That's a first. Whenever I find a kid with potential, I usually approach them to see how they react. Usually they just scatter terrified by my overwhelming aura. The rest can't even take a single hit. But this kid is holding her ground, even blocking my attack with a wooden sword. She has the makings of a sword master." Then, Rika charged forward again, her movements as fluid as a snake. "Did this kid study at the Ravia Sword Academy?" Esther wondered. "You've got good skills," he said calmly, then suddenly unleashed a burst of power, sending Reika flying. Unable to handle the force, Reika crashed to the ground. The Sword Saint's blade was at her neck. "Sir Haiban, stop," the Lord cried out. The Sword Saint looked pleased. "Unlike your cowardly son, you have a brave and powerful daughter. So, she's going to be Sir Haiban's disciple?" Luke asked, worried. "You there?" the Sword Saint asked Reika. But her reaction shocked everyone. Sensing an opening, Reika instantly launched a kick, then grabbed her wooden sword to keep fighting, her stance flawless. "You even know how to counterattack while I'm distracted," the Sword Saint said, ruffling Reika's hair. "When did he get behind me?" she thought, terrified. The Sword Saint was still impressed. Give her enough time to grow, and her sword skills could rival even Ravia's. "Can you take me to the person who taught you swordsmanship?" "Yes, sir." In her heart she understood one thing: this old man was the real deal, a true Sword Saint. Later they traveled together by carriage. Reika was still terrified that he'd blocked her full power attack, like he was playing with a child. Even her own father had to be deferential when speaking to him. "Hey kid, your name's Reika, right?" the Sword Saint asked. "Your friend. What did you feel when you watched him train?" "The way he swings his sword is flawless, with nothing to criticize. It's like he's a seasoned veteran." The Sword Saint was shocked. An 18-year-old with the experience of an old master. "By the way, it's been a long time since I've returned to these training grounds. I fought many battles here with my old comrade." Hearing this, the Lord grew curious. "Where is your friend now, sir? He was an amazing person. It's just a shame he left us." "My condolences, sir." "It's fine. That was 20 years ago." Just then, they arrived to see Asur still training relentlessly. Suddenly, he heard someone call his name from behind. It was Lady Reika. But then Asur felt an immense pressure. He was completely shocked to see his old comrade in arms. "Haiban, what the hell is he doing here?" While Asur was still processing, the man spoke first. "It's good to see you." It finally clicked. Haiban is Lord Reborok's guard. Asur had completely forgotten. "Back when Lord Reborok was young during the previous Lord's reign, I specifically asked Haiban to look after him, so of course they would be close." Sword Saint Sir Haiban Esther Asur immediately greeted him. "Oh, you know of me. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time." The Sword Saint was absolutely ecstatic. Not this again, Asur thought, recognizing his old habit of wanting to test young talents. "Well, it's been a while since I fought him anyway." Asur immediately drew his sword and attacked first. Incredibly, a single strike sent Haiban's sword flying. Asur smirked. "Haha, royal swordsmanship is just for self-defense. It's nothing compared to a Sword Saint like you, Haiban." "That's exactly what I was feeling." "Not really. Maybe we just walk different paths. You've changed since the old days. Care for a real rematch?" "Haha, sounds good to me." And with that, they charged at each other for a decisive battle. Today was just like any other day, except this time, they were in different roles. Seeing the boy before him, Haiban's eyes widened in recognition. "Captain of the Royal Guard," he called out. The words left Asur completely stunned. "Sir Haiban, what did you just say?" the bewildered lord asked, but Haiban just waved it off. "Forget it, it's nothing." Asur was shocked. Asterisk. Does he know who I am, or does he think I'm his disciple? Asterisk. The Sword Saint asked Asur. Asterisk. Phew. Thank God he thinks that. Times Asur breathed a sigh of relief. "I don't know who you're talking about. I don't have a master." "Really? In that case, become my disciple." Haiban made a shocking proposal. Asterisk. The Sword Saint wants to take that kid as his disciple. Times. This was the last thing the Lord wanted. "Hold on a minute." Reika was the first to speak up. "I don't know if you're the Sword Saint or whatever, but old man, what the hell was that attacking people out of nowhere?" Does being the sword saint mean you can just swing your sword at anyone you please? Hearing this, Haiban was at a loss for words. Hey, that's incredibly rude, Reika, the Lord warned her. It's all right, my lord. It seems this younger generation has no idea who I am. The sword saint picked up his weapon. Then let me show you, kid. His words carried an indescribable menace. A colossal pressure erupted from the great sword. Reika felt like she was being hit by a hurricane. Asur recognized it instantly. Its aura. That's right. The signature ability that only a sword saint possesses, he confirmed before swinging his blade down. The attack was so powerful, it kicked up a massive cloud of dust. A moment later, the Lord finally opened his eyes. Everything around them had been turned to dust. The sword saint's power was terrifying. I am the sword saint, he repeated. With that talent of yours, you could achieve great things. He slowly approached Asur. So what do you say, kid? Want to be my disciple? Hearing this, the Lord thought times. The disciple of the sword saint, just the title itself commands respect. Asterisk. Reika was also curious to hear Asur's answer. Asur thought to himself, times, damn, he's strong. Asterisk. Asterisk. If I become his disciple, just how powerful could I become times? That was the logical thought. But Asur gave a completely unexpected answer. I refuse. Everyone there was left speechless. Meanwhile, outside the Lord's territory, a huge crowd had gathered, chanting the sword saint's name. Every one of them wanted to be his disciple. They were being held back by the soldiers. But the eager crowd wouldn't give up. At least let us see the sword saint's face. But the soldiers' reply only disappointed them more. Everyone, please go home. Sir Haiban has already taken a disciple. What? Who is it? Tell him to take me too. They still refused to give up. Meanwhile, inside, Asur was busy training. It's pretty chaotic out there. He could feel the commotion outside. Aren't you leaving? He asked the sword saint. I've got nowhere else to go. I'll just crash here with you for a bit. The sword saint replied nonchalantly. Are you serious? Asur asked again. You really don't want to be my disciple. But the sword saint's enthusiasm was met with Asur's cold indifference. He refused, flat out. No means no. Asterisk. This guy Haiban just won't let up about me being his disciple times, Asur thought. Asterisk. But becoming the disciple of my own best friend, there's no way in hell I'd agree. You should take that girl over there, Asur suggested. She's more worthy than I am. He pointed towards the fuming Reika. I already asked her. She politely declined, saying she already has a master. She said, she won't take another master. She's a good kid. Hearing this, Asur was genuinely surprised. Asterisk. She turned down the sword saint, just so she could learn from me. She didn't have to do that. Asterisk. Night fell. Damn it. An angry man stormed down the street. This life is such bullshit. The disgruntled man was none other than Luke. Unlike his cowardly son, he has a brave and strong daughter. Asterisk. How dare he say that to a noble like me? Asterisk. Remembering Haiban's words made Luke's blood boil. It's all because of that bastard. He needs to disappear. He's the one who made my life this miserable. Just then, a sinister black aura shot towards him. Luke had been drinking, so his reflexes were dull. By the time he noticed, it was too late. The dark energy snatched him up. In his panic, a wicked face materialized from the shadows. A moment later, Luke found himself in an unfamiliar place. Where am I? He screamed in terror. You, the heir to the Luke Hanvaro estate, a voice echoed. Then the owner of the mysterious voice slowly emerged. A pleasure to finally meet you. It was a masked figure with a truly sinister vibe. The next morning, Reika was grumbling. I can't stand that old geezer. But he's still the sword saint. You should show a little more respect. You don't respect him either, do you? Hearing that, Asur was caught off guard. Asterisk. Should I tell her it's because he's an old friend? Besides, I've already reached the level of a sword saint myself. Asterisk. It wouldn't hurt to learn from him. He's mastered the heroic swordsmanship you want to achieve after all. But Reika protested. But I want to be like you. What? Asur was stunned. Reika said it again more firmly. You're the one I want to become. I truly respect you as my master, so please don't sell yourself short like that. Asur thought to himself, times, I don't have any real talent with the sword. All the techniques in this world were created by heroes from the past. Asterisk. All swordsmen learn heroic swordsmanship, hoping to surpass human limits just like them. But I was different. I learned the royal swordsmanship, a basic style created by the empire that anyone could pick up. It was the only sword style a talentless person like me could learn. I've spent my entire life with a sword in hand, dedicated solely to this one path. But why? Why would a prodigy like her look up to someone like me? Asur was lost in his own questions. But for Reika, the answer was simple. Asur, you made me stronger. Without you, I never would have withstood the pressure from that old man. Your guidance helped me so much. You were my guiding light. What's this, a lover's quarrel? Haiban walked up teasing them. Don't joke around, Aser shot back. What's that in your hand? Haiban just grinned. This is a gift for you. You don't specialize in any one weapon, so you can use a variety of them, right? That's right. See, royal swordsmanship is all about building a solid foundation. It's a simple, practical, fighting style. Unlike heroic swordsmanship, which is built on profound principles and superhuman techniques, its advantage is its versatility with different weapons. Unlike a heroic swordsman, I can also use many weapons besides a sword, because I had to use every damn skill I had just to survive real battles. The gift was a pair of iron gauntlets. They're not just simple gauntlets, they're much more interesting. Focus your power into your hand and imagine any weapon. Haiban instructed Acer to follow his lead. He pictured a dagger, and sure enough, one materialized in his palm. See, useful, right? Acer asked if it was magic. Yep, spatial magic to be exact. These are weapon storage gauntlets. To put something inside, you just have to think it. Remember, only weapons can be stored. This will be useful for me, but it'd be worthless to swordsmen who can only use their one specific weapon. Why did you make this? Haiban smiled. I didn't make it for me. I made it for a friend, though he ended up dying before he could receive it. Fate is a funny thing, isn't it? Somehow it found its way to you, Acer. The friend from 20 years ago that you mentioned before, that's the one. He was also a user of the royal swordsmanship. Even though we walked different paths, I really liked the guy, Haiban said, wistfully. He acknowledged his own lack of talent, but he never gave up, calmly walking his own path. That in itself is a kind of enlightenment. How could I not respect him? Hearing this, Acer was stunned. For him to say that now, I always kept my distance, thinking a talentless person like me would be worthless to heroes. I can't believe he'd go out of his way to make something like this. Haiban looked straight at Acer. You're really just like my friend. The way you talk, your straightforward actions, your eyes, and even your stance, it's all identical. That's why I want you. So, how about becoming my disciple? This old geezer again, Reika muttered, clearly annoyed. I'll accept your offer, but only temporarily. Of course I will continue to train, Reika, Acer added, suddenly changing his tune. So, for now, let's have a match. He summoned a spear. All right then. Listen carefully, Haiban instructed. Reika could tell Acer was really excited about his new gift. Acer now had a renowned master, a true bona fide sword saint. Meanwhile, back with Luke. I heard he's in this village. A stranger approached him. Who are you? Luke asked, confused. We are the Motorola Assassins Guild. We've come to ask your permission, son of the Lord, to set up our business here. Luke was terrified. He'd heard of them. The world's largest assassins guild, which appeared 50 years ago. Why would they come to a territory like this? No, wait a minute, assassins, if that's the case. Fine. You have my permission, Luke answered decisively. However, I have one condition. Of course, please tell us. The man let out a sinister laugh. Luke named his target Acer. I want you to kill him. A cruel look spread across Luke's face. Back at the duel, Haiban was thoroughly enjoying himself, as Acer relentlessly attacked, bringing his sword down hard. Incredible. His basic combat ability is on par with my own, Haiban thought to himself. His movements are polished to perfection. Haiban was full of praise, but Acer remained humble. That's all I've got. Is that so? Haiban replied lightly. Then with a single overwhelming slash, he sent Acer flying. Acer barely managed to regain his footing. It's a shame. Besides the royal style, it seems you have no aptitude for heroic swordsmanship, Haiban remarked. Just then, a throwing knife flew towards him. Haiban swiftly caught it between two fingers. Looks like you've already adapted to that item. Hearing this, Acer replied honestly, that's why you have to make good use of these little tricks. Haiban tossed the dagger back to Acer and said, in a real fight, you can't unleash the overwhelming power of heroic swordsmanship with just the royal style. That's why magic like this, which supplements the limitations of your swordsmanship, is absolutely essential. Very useful. Yeah, it's been a huge help since I got this gauntlet. Acer grabs the dagger. I've been following his discipline training every day to get used to it. Of course I'm still teaching Yuka. In terms of talent, she's leagues ahead of me. Hearing this, Haiban thinks, that kid, aren't you worried about your own sanity with her always hanging around? Acer thinks to himself, I'd love to, but this old man is annoyingly cautious. Haiban sighs, God, how boring. Your single-minded personality is just like his. What do you mean? Well, like you, he only ever practiced royal swordsmanship. He was a desperate man who was convinced he had no talent. Acer was shocked to hear this. Is that so? What he thought was his business, but we all agreed, he really was talentless. Haha. Haiban said frankly, but now, I'm not so sure what real talent even is. I never expected to hear that from him. Asur was shocked by his response. Haiban had always believed in talent, viewing his own abilities as a blessing. For such an arrogant man to change his perspective in just a few years. What happened to him? Just then, Yuka spoke up. Master Haiban is something wrong, he announced. We have guests from the Empire. Tsk. They finally crawled their way here. About time, these troublemakers showed up. Inside the castle, a solemn voice called out, "The captain of the royal knights greets the great sword saint. The emperor has summoned you, Sword Saint Haiban. Please return to the capital with us." The captain of the knights. I thought the royal guard captain's successor would come. He is currently attending to other matters. Alright, fine. I was planning to leave this place anyway. We'll go tomorrow. It's late. Go get some rest. Ryok, it was good seeing you after so long. Yes. Goodbye, Sir Haiban, and take care, kids. It was a pleasure, kid. I'm sure we'll meet again someday, regardless of the path you choose. Yes, sir. Ryok was reluctant to say goodbye. Asur recalls his past life. As always, he was relentlessly practicing his swordsmanship. I don't have any talent, Captain of the Royal Guard. A mocking voice chimed in. Wouldn't you be better off finding another job? I do what I want, he replied. He answered firmly, if my lack of talent was going to break me, I'd have given up long ago. So, stop gawking, and just leave. That's my advice. The arrogant woman beside him added, you will never amount to anything. Your talent is pitiful and worthless. You'll just go back to being a third-rate swordsman. That is your destiny. With that, Acer startles awake. It was just a dream, a truly horrible dream. Lefenia, the youngest sword saint, a genius of the sword. You said I'd accomplish nothing, didn't you? But look at me. At the end of my life, I became a sword saint. And now I'm even mentoring a child who might one day surpass you. Isn't this just ironic, Lefenia? You were wrong. Practicing this late, the visitor was Sword Saint Haiban. I had a nightmare and couldn't sleep. What brings you here? I'm leaving at dawn. We won't see each other for some time, my disciple. We had a good run. Suddenly, Haiban's face grew serious. Asur, for the past 20 years I have wandered the world, searching for its contradictions and changing experiences. But after meeting you, I think I've finally found it. What is this killing intent? Asur felt completely overwhelmed. How wrong I was about everything I believed. With that, he swung his sword down at Asur, but the blast of sword energy flew right past him. To his surprise, the bodies of several creatures behind him were sent flying. Asur whipped around to see a scene of chaos. This is the truth I've found after 20 years of searching. The ground was littered with demon corpses. They have been chasing me, relentlessly hiding in the shadows. Why, Acer wondered. Why are they here? Weren't these creatures supposed to be banished from this world by the hero? Exactly. The hero defeated the Demon King, and with him all dark creatures like demons and monsters vanished. That's the official story anyway. The truth, recorded in history. All was all a lie. The Demon King and his minions never disappeared. They've been chasing me ever since. They want to silence me and bury the truth. But right now, we need to take care of these bastards first. At that moment, the demons charged at Asur. He gripped his sword's hilt, instantly transforming it into a long spear. He then swept it behind him, taking down the lead demon. Seeing Asur's fierce and skilled movements, Haiban thought, that movement, it's just like the kid said. The skills of a seasoned veteran. It's like I'm looking at my old friend again. This is no ordinary kid. You have talent, boy. True swordsmanship talent. This heroic swordsmanship is nothing. Haiban begins to fight seriously, and in a single blow he wipes them all out. Damn, the hero's swordsmanship is ridiculously overpowered. Moments later, the ground is littered with demon corpses. After dealing with them, Haiban spoke. Demonic creatures have returned to this world, and I suspected that you, Acer, were one of them. Perhaps you're a demon who devoured a child's memories to steal their form. What are you talking about? A doppelganger, Asur asked bluntly, but a demon couldn't possibly mimic such masterful swordsmanship. You're really human. A kid who looks just like my fallen comrade. Haiban concluded. I will head to the Empire and reveal the truth. I'll warn them of the coming danger, and then, I must find the hero who vanished. Asur, I hope we meet again one day. Next time, I'd like to have a proper talk with you. The next morning, Asur lay in his room, his mind on the hero. Did he really fail to defeat the Demon King? When the Demon King first appeared, the world was drowning in a sea of fire. He emerged like a shining star and swept the demons away, a powerful, radiant figure, a hero straight out of a legend. But he vanished 20 years ago, abandoning the very lands and people he was meant to protect. Where could he have possibly gone? If he truly failed to kill the Demon King, then how do we explain all these years of peace? No matter what, my mission remains the same, whether I uncover these secrets or not. Whether I learn the truth or not, I will continue to raise my sword. That's one thing that will never change. Suddenly Luke approached Aser, a wicked grin on his face as he handed something over. A voice rang out from the assassin's hideout. "Leader, do you really have to come with me? He's just the Sword Saint's disciple." The leader retorted, "But he's just a worthless brat who only knows royal swordsmanship." But the leader knew better. This kid was dangerous. He's completely different. Remember, the first time we revealed ourselves to the world. It was a user of royal swordsmanship who drove us to the brink of extinction. Never forget that. That was because our organization was weak back then. We're different now. Enough. He will die by my hand. As the successor to the hero's legacy, I won't lose to something as pathetic as royal swordsmanship. Hearing that, the leader seemed pleased. At that moment, Acer had accepted the mission from Luke. His orders go to the alleyway, marked on this note. How interesting. He smirked. Why don't you all come on out? The Matora assassins appeared from the shadows. So what do you guys want with a coward like me? Hearing that, the assassins froze. This little rat. How the hell does he know who we are? A voice echoed, well, I'm surprised you know about us. Did the Sword Saint tell you, kid? I know more than enough. Because in my past life I hunted you down too. Back then, your little group was holed up in this same territory. I found and destroyed your base. He recalled his past life's deeds. You've just walked right into your own grave. The masked man gloated. My grave, Acer just smirked. An assassin snuck up behind him, but without even looking, Acer cut him down instantly. Then his expression hardened. You guys were just as chatty back then, even as royal swordsmanship was cutting you to ribbons. At his words, the assassins flinched. You, how the hell could you know that? That doesn't matter, Acer cut in. All that matters is my objective. That's the only thing I need to do. The scene shifts to inside the castle. Long time no see, son of the Empire. The man on the throne greeted Haiban. It's been over 20 years. You seemed pretty sharp back then, but now, you're just an old man crushed by the weight of your reality. As disrespectful to the crown as ever, Haiban flopped down on the steps. My path is the way of the sword. Power means nothing to me, but let's set that aside. I've heard rumors the rifts have opened, and demons are back. What are you saying? It's true, Haiban confirmed. Our top priority is to find the hero, and for that, I need the Empire's cooperation. I'm sorry, but that's not going to be easy. What? And that's not our only problem. We're facing a critical shortage of manpower. The hero wasn't the only one who vanished. What do you mean by that? Haiban demanded, alarmed. Back with Acer, the assassins were gloating. You know, you're pretty interesting. Normally we would have killed you on the spot. But we've changed our minds. So you'd better start explaining how you know so much about our past, he threatened. Make me. Another assassin lunged, and just like the last one, Acer sliced him in half. Then two more attacked from above. Before they could even strike, one caught a throwing knife. The second met the same fate. Seeing his men get taken down so easily, the masked man felt a flicker of fear, but he forced a tough tone. Cheap tricks. Is this the desperate struggle of a cornered rat? Acer ignored him, thinking to himself that these new gloves were pretty damn useful. You must have come prepared, hiding weapons in your clothes, right? Acer realized the guy had no idea he was using spatial magic to materialize his weapons. But this is the end of the line for you. The masked man began to draw his sword. You will die, by my superior sword style. The blade radiated a thick, dark aura, the Matora sword style. Acer recognized it immediately. He was seeing it again. The technique that concealed the blade's form in darkness to strike at an opponent's vital points. Oh, so you recognize this magnificent technique. Then die by its blade. A whirlwind of dark energy wrapped around Acer, then shot straight at him like a bullet. But Acer managed to block it with the flat of his blade. The bizarre sword style made the attacks completely unpredictable. But the assassin didn't let up, amplifying the dark aura and putting immense pressure on Acer. He was finally forced to break contact and leap backward, only to have a blade pointed right at him. Acer praised him. Not bad, you've got some skill. That's a difficult sword art to master. The masked man had to agree. Damn right. I'm one of the 13 honorary elites recognized by the leader of Motorola himself. Honorary elite, Acer scoffed. Clinging to a title like that is just pathetic. Why is Motorola targeting me? He questioned only to get a sarcastic reply. Since when does an assassin have to explain himself to his target? But I'm a dead man anyway, right? Can't you grant a dying man one last wish? And just like that, the assassin fell for the bait. Fine. We came to this land specifically to kill you. Kill me. That's right. An order from the Prophet. The Prophet is targeting me. Acer was still confused. Yep. Is that a good enough answer for you? More than enough, he replied. And then he whipped out a long spear and drove it straight through the assassin's chest. What the hell? The man gasped in shock. Aser replied coldly, what do you think? Did you really think your petty tricks could take me down? The whole thing was just an act for Aser to uncover the plot. That night, back in the domain, Luke was laughing his ass off. He popped a bottle of wine. He's probably dead in some ditch by now. Fucking perfect. Luke was certain his plan had succeeded. The thorn in his side was finally gone, and he was basking in the satisfaction. No matter how skilled you are, Aser, those guys were on a whole different level. Just then, a voice cut through the air. I'm here. The voice was enough to sober up the drunk Luke in an instant. The wineglass slipped from his hand and shattered. Luke scrambled backward, collapsing to the floor, as if he'd seen a ghost. The one person who could terrify him this much was none other than Aser. We need to have a little chat, Aser said coldly. What do you mean by that? It sounds like you think I shouldn't be here, huh? Did he really defeat the Motorola assassins? Luke thought to himself. Could he have figured out I was the one who sent them? Don't come any closer, Luke screamed in terror. How dare you barge into a nobleman's room, he blustered, trying to save face. Aser's only reply was his sword. He brought his sword down hard on the worthless noble, but it wasn't a killing blow. The blade stopped just inches from his throat. Up until now, I've been able to overlook your actions, Aser said, his voice ice cold, but this time you've gone too far. Luke was finally terrified, trembling as he begged, spare me, I hope you won't disrupt my peaceful life like this again. Aser's words dripped with menace. This is the last time I'm letting you off the hook, young master. I hope we don't have to see each other again. It would be unpleasant for both of us. This is your final warning. With that, he turned and left the pathetic coward behind. Luke was so terrified by Aser's aura that he was practically scared soulless. Meanwhile, at the assassin's headquarters, we failed a lone survivor, reported grimly. But his leader didn't seem surprised. As expected, defeated by the royal swordsmanship just like before. This is becoming a problem, no matter how I look at it. Who the hell is that kid? Just then, a sinister laugh echoed as footsteps approached. Do you really think there's a link between that brat and the former captain of the royal guard? A mysterious figure asked. Just because he uses the royal swordsmanship, the so-called Great Motorola can't even handle a single kid. Pathetic. Our past encounters with the royal swordsmanship were unpleasant. That's just because you were too unskilled to handle it. I'll deal with that little shit myself, with the great power of the god Maru. Meanwhile, outside the city walls, rumors were flying. They're saying assassins infiltrated the village to try and take out the young Lord Luke. Holy shit, but who took them down? I heard it was that kid Aser. What? That troublemaker, everyone muttered. Wait a minute, wasn't he just chosen to be the Sword Saint's disciple? Karen was surveying the scene, putting the pieces together. Later she reported back, I believe they were from Motorola. I can't believe that infamous assassination group was operating in our territory. The whole village could have been wiped out. Luke caused this whole mess. That idiot, the Lord, was furious. He then asked, where is he now? He still hasn't come out of his room, Karen reported. Right now, Luke was so scared he could piss himself, a successor who puts his own domain in danger. He needs to do some serious soul-searching. How's the mood in the village? Fortunately, everything has been resolved, and the people have calmed down. And it seems their opinion of Aser is slowly starting to change for the better. Regardless, we must express our gratitude to him. Before the Lord could finish, Karen interjected, I'm still curious about Aser's true identity. Can someone's personality really change that drastically and get that strong so fast? Sir Highband confirmed he's no demon, but he's definitely dangerous. If he used that power for his own ambitions, he could easily wipe this Elok territory off the map. However, he fought for us and saved the village. We need to know for sure if Aser is truly on our side or an enemy in disguise. And now, the chance to confirm that has arrived. We need to see how Aser reacts. Karen remained curious about the Lord's plan. This was an unexpected turn of events. Meanwhile, Aser was cleaning his weapon, the name Motorola echoing in his mind. He recalled the assassins he took down yesterday. Tell me everything, Aser threatened. Why do you want to kill me? We don't know the reason. We just follow our God's orders. The prophecy said, you must be killed, and we acted after learning you were in this village. It looks like you plan to use poison to establish a foothold in this village. Yes, that's it. So you'll spare me for telling you right. I never said I'd let you go. Aser coldly raised his sword. What the hell are you planning? He wondered. Motorola, a cult that worships the god Marua. Its leaders hold seats of honor, and the elites receive power from this god. They expanded their influence using the god's power, but in his past life he had wiped them all out. After disappearing for a while, they've shown up again to eliminate Aser in his new life. But how did their god know he was reincarnated? After thinking for a moment, he made a decision. He had to go to the imperial capital. Someone there might know the secret of his reincarnation. Just then, there was a knock on the door. It was Reika, who nervously approached Asur. "I've received a proposal for an arranged marriage," Reika confessed. She then explained how her father was forcing her to accept it. "I don't want to. I'm not ready to get married yet." Of course, she'd protested. The Lord gently advised, "I understand how you feel, Reika, but we have no other choice. You know who the family is. Just try meeting him first. Who knows, he might be a good person." An arranged marriage, no matter how they sugarcoated, it was basically being sold off to a powerful family. So, that family must be influential. Who else but the Count of Batua, the Batua region? The name took Asur by surprise. He was once a hero, and now he's the lord of the Batua region, Vanbaka Batua. "In my past life, we had some history. He was a virtuous lord who ruled his domain well. His people hailed him as a hero, but he wasn't particularly outstanding or talented. Lord Vanbaka proposed to you." Hearing this, Reika shuddered with rage. Not him, his son. The lord is over 50 years old, marrying a man that age. Holy shit, that's horrifying, Reika said, terrified. But why would his son be forced into an arranged marriage, he wondered. Then, an old memory surfaced. "Captain of the guard, this is my son. His name is Boros. You have a brave son, my lord." The captain praised him. "Speaking of which, I heard this marriage rumor has spread among all the noble families." "You mean an arranged marriage? I want my son to marry the one he loves, whether she's a noble or a commoner." Truly the words of a virtuous lord. He wasn't some stiff-necked noble, he was humble and down to earth. But it seems even a man like him had to bow to the reality of the aristocracy. "Anyway, I heard the news. Asur, you single-handedly wiped out the assassins who infiltrated our land. I wish I could be as strong as you. I can't even hold a sword properly. Actually, you're very talented, my lady. It's a shame you have to leave." Really, Asur Reika seemed to have expected this reaction from him. She seized the moment and continued, "I have one last thing to ask of you. Will you help me? You want one final duel?" "Yes. I won't be able to hold a sword anymore, so I want one last match. Come at me. Don't hold back." Reika looked fired up as she charged at Asur with all her might. The result was predictable. Reika collapsed to the ground. "Is that all you've got?" Asur asked. Reika admitted she couldn't go on. Then she looked up and saw someone approaching. "Oh, my poor daughter," the lady sighed. She took Reika's hand. "Why do you look sadder than I do?" her mother asked in surprise. She comforted her. "You had an arranged marriage too, but you're living a good life." The lady confessed, "Your father and I already knew each other before we married. But I've never even met this person. On top of that, his family is a family of heroes. If something goes wrong, still, a marriage alliance with them would benefit our family greatly. Asur, I have a favor to ask you." The lady spoke up. "When it's time to go to their territory for the introduction, can you please escort her and look after her? She'll need someone to talk to in a strange new place. Besides, you're the one closest to her, and I'm very worried." "I understand, and besides, I wanted to meet him anyway." Asur quickly agreed. "Vanbaka Batua, I wonder what he's like now." And so their journey began with the group setting off in a lavish carriage, leaving the Reich domain behind. Jik was deeply puzzled. But why would father let Karen come with us? Why send someone who clearly has it out for him? Karen simply replied, "It's the Lord's command, keep an eye on Asur." He recalled the Lord's objective. Asur's target has always been Jik. That can't be right, Karen had argued. He must have been hiding his true motives all along. The Lord insisted Asur would never risk his life to protect a territory and castle where he's always been despised. He's not the self-sacrificing type. The only person who ever acknowledged or trusted him was Jik. If Jik leaves, he'll eventually show his true colors, so this whole marriage is just a front. It's all a ploy by the Lord to force Asur into revealing his true nature. We have to watch his every move and expose his real ambitions, he ordered Karen. So everything he did was just to win Lady Jik's favor, Karen thought. Seeing Karen's presence, Asur knew immediately that Lord Liberok still suspected him. As for that meathead Karen, he didn't have a clue. He just thought Asur was a total scumbag. If he tries anything with the lady, I'll kill him on the spot. By now, their carriage was approaching its destination. Karen announced, "We're now entering the Count's territory. We'll arrive in about half a day." "That's not too far. It's surprising, our lands are so close. And yet our two domains have almost no contact. That's because Belaturia has been cut off from the outside world for the last 20 years. Hearing this, Jik wondered why. Karen replied, "I have no idea. After being isolated for all those years, it's pretty damn strange for them to suddenly propose an arranged marriage. It's probably nothing to worry about. But why is their lord praised as a hero?" Karen explained Lord Vanbaka. "People see him as a living saint. a noble unlike any other. That's it. Jik felt the information was way too vague. Lord Van Baca was born into a prominent count's family. He could have lived a life of luxury and privilege. But during his travels, he witnessed the suffering of the common people. So Lord Van Baca gave up his life of nobility to become a lord who cares for the sick and the weak. He even dismantled his own castle and sold off all his treasures to help feed the starving masses. He keeps taxes on the serfs incredibly low and even works the fields himself. The people admire his noble deeds, and that's why they call him a hero. For a noble to live like that, that's not easy. He must be an extraordinary man. Jik was impressed. Thanks to his influence, Karen continued, Belaturia became an incredibly peaceful land. The people are friendly. It's called a paradise free of murder and robbery. The moment Karen's words left his mouth, shouts of bandits erupted, making a total liar out of him. Sir Knight, bandits, the driver yelled. Karen, didn't you just say there were no bandits here? Jik asked, her voice filled with disappointment. Below, a mob radiated pure killing intent. Wait here, I'll handle them. As Karen reached for his sword, Jik demanded, Wait. I'm going too, she declared firmly. Asur stepped in. Please stay here, I'll go. Why, I'm not so weak, I'd lose to a bunch of thugs. This isn't about strength, it's a mental battle. You've never taken a life, have you? Hearing that, Jik flinched and stepped back. Karen and I will take care of this, he said calmly. Could those damn Motorola bastards be here too? Asur took a fighting stance, but then realized something was off. These were just poor farmers. Their only weapons were farm tools. Give us money, food. Their voices trembled. These people are bandits. Asur couldn't believe it, but Karen just roared, Back off, this is the carriage of Lord Liberok of Elak. Take one more step and I'll cut you down. Karen, that's enough. Asur stepped forward. They're not bandits, he stated firmly. They're just starving farmers. To them, dying by the sword is no different from dying of hunger. He then tossed them a pouch heavy with gold. Take this, buy some food and get out of here. They stammered their thanks and quickly fled. Was that your money? Karen asked, stunned. Asur just shrugged. It's fine, I wasn't going to use it anyway. But the direction they ran, it looks like they came from Belaturia. No way. The very thought sent a chill down Karen's spine. Asur, Karen, what happened? Jik asked with concern. It's all sorted out, Asur replied. Those bandits were heading to Belaturia. They were farmers, he added, for bandits to appear this deep in the Count's territory, coupled with the assassins who attacked our home. This continent is getting more dangerous. How can there be unrest in such a supposedly peaceful land? What the hell is going on? Van Baca Asur wondered to himself. At that moment, their carriage finally arrived at the Belaturia domain. They all stared in absolute shock at what lay before them. It was a colossal, magnificent castle. How is this possible? Lord Van Baca wouldn't. Karen stammered in disbelief. Jik just smirked. Didn't you say he tore it down? Tearing down his castle to live frugally. Welcome to my territory, a voice cut in. You must be Lady Reika Hanbok and her attendants. I am Boros Batua. It's an honor. So, you're him. Yes, that's right. I am the lady's fiancé. This wasn't what Asur expected, but Reika missed the hidden meaning in his words. The group then continued inside. Asur saw it immediately. This place had changed. The village was a complete slum. It used to be clean, and the people were happy. But now they all looked utterly hopeless. Is this really the Batua domain? The whole atmosphere felt wrong. We've had some criminals appear recently, Boros warned, so I must ask you to avoid contact with the villagers. When they arrived at their lodgings, Reika was furious. A paradise with no crime or bandits, huh? This is a damn slum, a den for thieves, and what the hell is this lavish feast when your people are starving outside? It's disgusting. I can't eat a thing. This isn't the Belaturia I remember. Karen shifted awkwardly. Have you finished your meal? My lady, Boros asked as he approached. My father wishes to see you. Hearing this, Karen hesitated. Before Reika could speak, Boros addressed Asur. I know what you're thinking, Sir Knight. This Belaturia is nothing like the one you remember, is it? It's best you expect nothing, Boros said grimly, because right now, my father is nothing short of a monster. And then, he dropped the bombshell. A pleasure to meet you all. I am Van Baca Batua, the Lord, he slurred. I hear you've come all the way from the Elak territory. That must have been a long journey coming so far. The Lord continued to drink heavily while greeting them. But it's a small matter for the great hero clan, I'm sure. Karen was disgusted by how rude the man was. Asur remembered the man he once knew. He's changed so much. He's become a vulgar pig. Reika couldn't hide her revulsion. And your name is the Lord demanded. Reika Hanbok, my lord, she replied curtly. Hearing her name, a hungry look flashed across his face. She flinched, terrified. What a beautiful name, he sneered with a demonic grin. I'm supposed to sleep in Lord Van Baka's room, Reika asked Boros, horrified. How could I possibly sleep in the Lord's own bed? I'll just stay with Asur or Karen instead. It's fine, you don't need to worry, she stammered frantically. For someone as noble as yourself, to use his chambers is an honor for my father, Boros said humbly. Please rest easy. This was beyond strange. What the hell are they planning, she wondered. Elsewhere. Did you tell Reika to go to my room? Yes, father. The bastard lord clinging to two maids continued. My son, do you remember the story I told you when you were a child? Yes. I remember it perfectly. You said I should marry the person I love most. But since you haven't found a wife, I arranged your marriage to the Ilak girl. However, the moment I saw little Reika, I realized she's far more suitable to be my concubine. Besides, I was thinking of taking a new one anyway. Father, what are you saying? Boros asked in horror. I'm saying I'm taking her as my wife. The old bastard wasn't hiding it anymore. Night fell. How could the Lord have become like this? How did he fall into such depravity? The Van Baka, I remember, was a humble and courteous man. Belaturia was once a beautiful, thriving land. But he has devoured it whole with his greed. A once great ruler is now drowning himself in wine and women. It's no wonder his people are starving. His tyrannical policies are exploiting them to their breaking point. Is this really the Batua I once knew? Asur felt something was terribly wrong. Suddenly, a knock came at the door. Excuse me, it was Boros. Sir Asur, Miss Karen, he began politely. There is something I must tell you both. What did you just say? Karen erupted in fury. Lord Van Baka wants to marry Lady Reika. Yes, that is correct, Boros confirmed gravely. My engagement to her has been nullified. My father will be the one to marry her instead. Hearing this, Karen was trembling with rage. Asur immediately stormed toward the door. Where are you going? I'm taking Lady Reika and we're leaving. I refuse to let that pig use her as his plaything. It's all right, sir, Asur, Boros said, stopping him. You're a loyal knight. I understand your anger. No one truly wants a political marriage in the first place, do they? With your God-given talent, you're destined for the pinnacle of swordsmanship, aren't you? How did you know that? Asur asked, stunned. I have my own intelligence network, Boros confessed. So, I know about the situation in Elak. My father has completely isolated your territory. To prevent any information from leaking, I created an underground organization to gather intel on my own. Your lord didn't sell his daughter for profit. He couldn't refuse my father's demand because my family is a so-called hero clan. Even though there are no heroes left, Boros said sadly. My father ordered me to lure Lady Reika to his room, putting me in an impossible position. There is a secret passage behind the castle. At dawn, take her and get out of here immediately. I will handle my father afterwards. Asur was also surprised. Can you tell me what happened during that time? Boros began to recount the story. He changed completely 20 years ago. He ruthlessly exploited the people, levied every kind of tax, and stole their harvests. He used those resources to build his palace, while the people lived in abject misery, starving to death in the streets. My father just sat in his palace drinking wine and enjoying women. He was once called a living saint for the love he had for this land. Asur repeated the title. The irony stung, Boros. In the past, my father told me, you must marry the one you love the most. But 5 years later, I fell deeply in love with a girl and brought her home to meet him. She was just a commoner, but she truly loved me. He gave her a look of pure contempt. The next day, she was dead. My father had her killed on the false charge of coveting a noble's fortune. My own father killed her. Would a saint do something like that? Sir Belaturia, I will help you take control of this place. Please trust me. I won't let you down. Hearing this, Boros turned in surprise, but Asur had already vanished. Meanwhile, at Lord Van Baka's estate, haha, perfect. He laughed heartily. Now which room is that little girl in? Who are you? The old man asked when he saw Asur approaching. He casually picked up a wine bottle and read, 43-year-old, Bima wine. But Sir Van Baka rarely drinks, especially not expensive wine. Every time I offered him a drink, he refused. You damn brat, do you know who you're standing in front of, Van Baka Belaturia? Tell me the oath of the Belaturia clan. The what? What the hell are you talking about? You are not Van Baka. Asur's eyes turned to ice as he made his declaration. The moment the words were out, he charged forward with his weapon. We have to get out of here now, Lady Reika. This way Karen and Reika were fleeing. That man is up to no good. That greedy lord is trying to assault you. What? Reika was horrified. What is the lord planning to do to me? She screamed. Karen then put Reika in a carriage, but all she could do was worry about Asur. At that moment, soldiers announced an intruder, and that the lord was under attack. What's going on? The two wondered. What was that? I heard the lord scream from outside. Just then, Boros and his soldiers burst through the door. What the hell is happening? There on the floor lay the Lord with ASR, standing over him, weapon in hand. This isn't your father. It's an entity that possesses human bodies and steals their appearance, he explained. It's just a demon. You mean a doppelganger? Boris was quite knowledgeable. But that's not it, he said to ASR. Do you think I'm so stupid I can't tell the difference between a human and a demon? You're mistaken, ASR. If my father were attacked by a doppelganger, he would have lost all his memories. He would have attacked me on sight without recognizing me. But his memories are perfectly intact. He remembers everything. It's just that his personality slowly changed over the years. He may be a monster, but he is still my father. I believe that one day he will change back. Who the hell are you to do this to him? ASR didn't immediately respond to those words. Attack him, Boris ordered furiously. But just then, a ghastly laugh echoed through the room. Looks like I've been found out. Then, from within the Lord's body, a hideous monster emerged. Seeing this, everyone present was terrified. Boris in particular couldn't believe his eyes. A real doppelganger. It looked absolutely demonic. Just then Karen rushed forward. No way, what did ASR do? As she ran, soldiers emerged from within and blocked her path. What? The Karen asked in horror. What do you plan on doing, sweet boy? The doppelganger asked Boris, who shot back with fury. Was it you who killed my father? That was quite fun. Killing your dear father, it gloated. And your fiancée? I was planning on toying with that bitch for a while before killing her. Run, Lord Boris. Karen charged in, shouting a warning, but the demon caught her sword with its bare hands. Die, you filthy monster. Karen screamed. Then the two of them clashed. I'll admit, Karen, you've got skills for a human, huh? But it's not enough. I don't have time to play with you. With that, it sent both him and his sword flying. Karen slammed hard against the wall. The beast then turned. Brat, how dare you reveal my true identity? Its next target was ASR. The oath of Belaturia, he answered calmly. He always held it in his heart, he never stopped talking about it. And his faith in the people, the motto that made Van Baca a legend. Don't you dare pretend to be him if you don't even know that. Of course I didn't know at first. However, to impersonate him perfectly, I had to read his diary. I didn't want my identity to be exposed as easily as last time, when my people were executed the moment they were discovered. For 20 years no one knew who I was. But then suddenly, a kid like you figures it out in an instant. Before you die, I want to ask who you are, kid. A royal sword saint, ASR replied curtly. I already told you, he repeated to it. Once again, your kind has been wiped from the continent by a human. A royal sword saint. I thought I killed all of you bastards back then. But it seems there was one left. Impossible. The demon still couldn't believe ASR's words. Before it could finish speaking, he plunged his sword right into its gaping mouth, a powerful and decisive strike. Long time no see, doppelganger. Meanwhile, an injured Boros lay on the ground. Lord Boros, are you awake? Acer asked, concerned. Boros asked about the doppelganger. I was lucky enough to kill it, Acer said humbly. Seems it wanted revenge for its kind. In the past, how could he know? Boros wondered. Acer Rake called out. Karen's hurt, get over here. Soldiers moved to help Boros. Tend to your own wounds first, he commanded. Also, I need a word with the young lady's guard. The next morning, once peace had returned, Acer visited a grave, placing a bouquet of flowers upon it. They've built a grave for my father, Boros said. We had to restore his body to give him a proper burial. I know it's late, but my condolences for your loss, Acer offered. Honestly, though it hurts, I was deceived. I made a deal with a demon and brought ruin to my domain, all because I didn't recognize my own father. I'm just glad you saved this place. Thank you, Acer. So what will happen to Belaturia? From now on I will work, Boros declared. I have to rebuild the homes the demon destroyed. But I'll never be as good a lord as my father was. Acer recalled the words of the former lord. I am nothing. My power is nothing. All I have is the title of lord. This land exists only because of its people. I will help them live happily. I don't rule them. I support them. That is the duty of a noble. Those are the words in my heart, the words I repeat to myself daily. That was the Boros family vow. You used that vow to expose the demon's weakness. But that's a secret known only to my family and our closest retainers. I have to ask Acer. How did you know it? And for that matter, how do you know so much about demons? Maybe I'm just a special case, Acer thought, giving a vague answer. Back at the castle, Karen had woken up under Jik's care. She explained that a demon known as a doppelganger had been impersonating people by stealing their bodies. So Lord Van Vaca was impersonated. That means the hero wasn't corrupted, the marriage. It was all that damn demon's doing. Don't worry, the engagement is off, Lord Boros told me himself. It's invalid because the demon arranged everything. It was done without my consent. Besides, I'm leaving this place as soon as I can. That's what Boros said. Cutting back to Aser and Boros, a disciple of the sword Saint Hyban. So that explains it, Boros concluded. He had received his answer from Aser. He was a very dear friend of my father. If you truly are his disciple, then I can trust you. I've heard a lot about the Lord, from my commander, Aser thought. Boros then bowed before him. You are a great man for saving Belaturia. A noble bowing to a commoner. Acer was shocked. Thank you, Acer, Boros said. This is my heartfelt gratitude. To repay you if you have any request, I will do everything in my power to grant it as the leader of Belaturia. Acer thought to himself, thank you, Lord Boros. You've inherited your father's humility. You're going to be a great lord. The Lord of Belaturia was a doppelganger. So that's what Hyban meant. What did he say? He spoke of a crisis spreading across the entire continent. Just as he said. First Molia, now the demons. I'm afraid this is far from over. We can't let our guard down. Yes, I understand. Besides, Acer has saved us countless times. He has become our hero. I think it's time I changed my opinion of him. I don't believe I need to be wary of him anymore. So Rake finally trusts me, huh? Acer overheard from outside the room. Amnesia, and a new body overnight, just like a doppelganger. He could be a demon. Why do you trust him? I hope you won't be so on guard around me anymore, Rake. I have no interest in your household. Nor do I plan on staying long. I have things I need to do. Show yourself, Acer suddenly called out, sensing he was being followed. A shadowy figure spoke from behind. You sound like a brat. I've heard that story before, kid. Aren't you the Sword Saint's so-called disciple? Lord Boros had secretly formed this intelligence agency to stay connected to the outside world. Acer recalled his request. Yes, and I want the authority to hire them. Of course, it's not like I need them anymore. But why do you need them, Acer? For personal reasons, Acer replied curtly. I know you have other motives. But if this is what you want, I'm happy to help you. I'm Cairo, captain of the Topic Intelligence Agency. I'm Acer. You look familiar. Your skills are impressive. The way you killed that doppelganger in one shot was pretty damn terrifying, you know. I didn't even realize you were watching. Well, as an intelligence captain, I have to be good at staying hidden. It seemed that doppelganger knew something about you. You've got sharp ears, Acer complimented. So what do you want with an intelligence agency? You're not looking for a lost puppy, are you? Or maybe the whereabouts of the so-called heroes. What heroes? Acer replied to the surprised captain. Long ago, the people once called heroes. Every single one of them vanished. Or they became twisted husks of their former selves. They've been missing for 20 years, and Van Vaca's body was taken by a doppelganger, while the others were hunted down by demons. Now, with the demons' return, the entire continent is in danger. But I have no idea where the other heroes are. Especially the one who defeated the Demon King and saved the world all those years ago. We'll focus on finding Valoran. I can't believe you'd pick a mission like this. Is this too hard for your intelligence team? No way. The captain was pissed at being underestimated. There isn't a single piece of intel on this continent we can't find. So it's possible, right? Acer pressed. Just you wait. We'll get you what you need. With that, he vanished. Acer smirked. Now there's a guy who listens. But a moment later, the captain was already freaking out. Damn it, my stupid pride forced me to agree. This intel is so vague. Where the hell do I even begin? I'll start in the capital. Humph. That smug little bastard. The whereabouts of a hero that cunning. How am I supposed to find someone smart enough to stay hidden? What an interesting brat. He's going to be a real handful down the line. Elsewhere, a carriage rattled down a road. Hey, did you hear the rumor? Lord Belatria has finally opened his territory. Hasn't that place been sealed off for decades? The passengers murmured. Well, it's good for us merchants. More land to do business in. But why was it closed for so long? The rumors say it was because of a demon. Get real. Demons aren't real. They were all wiped out over 50 years ago. Oh yeah, you know, because you lived through it. So, what do they even look like? Yeah, we've never seen one. If I recall, the old man began slowly. They were massive, hideous monsters. So many people died back then. I nearly died myself trying to escape with my mother. But then, they showed up and saved us. The heroes. I only saw them once, but I remember their faces like it was yesterday. They were absolute badasses. Ha ha. The old man beamed with pride. You young folks should learn to respect the heroes. Without them, the world wouldn't be this peaceful. So these rumors about demons showing up? He couldn't even finish before demons ambushed them from above. A passenger screamed in terror, and just like that, it was all over. Back in the territory. So the creatures that threaten humanity are back, Acer thought to himself. Another war is about to start. He turned to see Reika still training with her sword. "Reika," he called out, "still at it." Everyone's on edge, worried the demons will attack. The tension is insane. I can't just sit around doing nothing. Demons. I've only ever read about them in books. So the rumors are true after all. People these days probably don't know a thing about demons. Looks like I've got more on my plate now. Suddenly a desperate scream cut through the air. "What's happening?" a soldier yelled as an injured man stumbled towards them. "I was on my way to the territory." "What happened?" Reika asked, approaching him. The villager saw Reika and begged, "Please help us. Demons came out of the forest and attacked our wagon." Reika was shocked by the news, but Asur was even more floored. They rushed to the scene, but tragically no one was left alive. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Acer Reika said, "What the hell is happening?" They assumed it was bandits and split up. "You guys search the area, we'll tend to the wounded." Asur examined the victims. This wasn't done by bandits. He grew suspicious looking at the tracks and the pieces of crude weapons. "Sir, are you all right?" Reika asked concerned. The old man gasped, "It's them, they're back." But he was barely breathing, and no one could understand him. "Goblins. It was goblins that attacked us." Reika flinched. "What's a goblin?" "I don't know." But Azer knew. "Just as I thought. They're here. Otherworldly creatures from countless different tribes. They're incredibly aggressive, attacking anything on sight, and are a major threat to humans. But unlike demons, they were supposed to be extinct. Why and how have they returned? I'm a merchant. I was just carrying goods from a nearby estate. Goblins suddenly swarmed us from the woods, attacked our carriage, and stole everything we had." Hearing the name, Reika asked again, "What are they?" "They're short, green-skinned monsters with pointy ears," the old man explained. "But they..." Before the old man could continue, Asur cut in. "They appeared during the golden age of monsters. However, they disappeared from this world, with the demons 50 years ago." "Oh, so you know about monsters, do you?" "I've read about them in history books." "That's right. Ever since the war ended, monsters have practically vanished. So, where in the world did they come from?" For now, that question remained unanswered. 50 years ago, the heroes annihilated the demons along with any other creature that threatened human existence. The dimensional portal to the demon realm was sealed shut. The last of the dragons were wiped out, and monsters were banished from our lands. A hero known as the Queen of the Northern Sea emerged, and the northern territories ruled by Revia kept all monsters in that region completely under control. They were no longer hostile to humans and lived in harmony with all the other races. But the monsters shattered the long-standing order in the north and are attacking people. Ravia is also missing, so the north is in total chaos, sir. If you know about goblins, you must know how to defeat them." The old man stammered, "I was too young to remember. Only the adults fought, so I don't know anything. It's been too long, there's probably no one left, who knows." The next morning, the town was buzzing with rumors of monster slayers and demons. Have the lord and the young lady heard about this? Yeah, he's already in a meeting with his vassals. But none of them have any intel on goblins or monsters, and there are no books written about them. And we can't find anyone who has ever fought them. Hearing this, Asur sighed. "They're probably all dead or missing, just like me. Goblins are a low-tier monster race, but they're a pain in the ass to handle when they're in a pack. Overall, though they're weak. But in an era where people have zero basic knowledge of monsters, they're terrifying enough." A tense atmosphere hung over the city. Reika spoke up. Hearing her, Asur made up his mind. "I'd better deal with whatever's in my way, and fast." Suddenly, Reika glanced at Asur, a smile spreading on her face as she got an idea. Night fell at the castle. It was time for Asur to make his move. He planned to hunt the goblins, but Reika appeared behind him. "I knew you wouldn't just sit still. You're sneaking out to find them, aren't you?" "I'm going with you," Asur refused. "It's too dangerous. Besides, if the Lord finds out, he'll be furious. If he found out, it would set a bad example for the people. Besides, we can't use the main gate. The guards are on high alert. For times like these, we should use the secret tunnel that only I know about. Come on, this way." Reika showed Asur the secret passage, and they easily slipped out of the city. "So, do you even know where the goblins are?" Asur replied. "We'll go to where the convoy was attacked. By following their tracks, we'll find the goblin den." "Follow me," Asur commanded. "Goblins, this time I won't let you escape." Reika thought, her resolve hardening. But their movements were being watched. The vicious monsters were finding this very amusing. "These humans have some balls," the leader sneered.